Hello and welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast, the show about life transformation through dream interpretation. I'm Michael Sheridan. On this show, through analysing your dreams, I'm going to tell you what your life purpose is and what your obstacles are and what you need to do to overcome those obstacles. And I'm always going to tell you that the obstacle is the way. It's not in the way, it is the way. So how do you get your dream analysed on my show? Very simple. You go to dream-analysis.com and submit your dream at that website, or you can download my free dictionary and try figure out your own dreams. There are thousands of symbols in that dictionary, and they are all based on actual dreams, real dreams that I have interpreted for people. So not made up. So what happened to me? Well, I ate shrimp yesterday for the first time in a long time. The surprising thing is, it was meant to be a breaded chicken dish. Absolutely yuck. I can still taste the shellfish in my mouth from yesterday. Shellfish is evil, by the way, in case you didn't know that. But everybody does know that. And it shouldn't be in a kitchen. It even says so in the Bible. Thou shalt not eat shellfish. And you may think I'm joking, but it does say that. What else is funny? Well, we have 3 kids in our house. The youngest, who is 5, was sent home from school for the crime of coughing. No, it's understandable because of COVID. She's tested. She's fine. Just a regular cold. But what's really funny is her older brothers, who are 8 and 10, are really mad at how unfair life is because she's able to stay home from school and they are not. But what's really funny about that is that she wants to go to school and she's mad because she can't go to school and be with her friends. Life is unfair to her too. As adults, we don't really change much, do we? We invest so much time into complaining, worrying, being afraid or resisting that we could fully have dealt with maybe 10 times what we've already dealt with in our lives. Well, maybe that's just me. It could be just me. Maybe I'll shut up or I'll give away too much information about myself. So let's start into the show. The first one was an email from Judee, longtime friend of the show. Thanks for listening, Judee. She says, 2 shows ago, you started talking about the joy of Christmas and how that affects the world. You promised you would talk about it in the following show, but you didn't. I would really love to hear your viewpoint on how joy at Christmas affects the world. Is it too late to talk about it? Absolutely not. And thank you for picking me up on that. It was that I was writing that piece and it just got so long. I was thinking, I'll never get to any dreams. And then I split it up. And then the following week I talked about other things I'd wanted to talk about in that piece, but I forgot that. Anyway, what is it? So if you're a channel, or if you do the things that I do and other people I know do, where we help other people to channel or help clear issues, clear all sorts of things. And if you get to a certain level doing that, you can find yourself being asked by people who work in this field to check them and clear them from entities and all sorts of other things. And that's something that you kind of unwittingly have to learn, or some of us have to learn. Not everybody does, because it doesn't really affect people. But being attacked by entities, or even being attacked by people who are maliciously against you. Now, that's not happening in my case, but I know plenty of people it does. And anyway, the point I was making about Christmas is I was talking to one of these people who's amazing at doing clearings. And he said that it's always interesting how on Christmas Day, nobody seems to get attacked. It's like the people who do the attacks aren't able to get through the amazing barrier of positivity that's around the world, or at least around our part of the world. And so it was really just that comment got me thinking about it. And I wanted to mention it, that feeling of joy and love is an amazing defense. And if you're sitting among people who are feeling joyous and feeling lots of love, you're going to get the benefit of that, regardless of whether it's Christmas or whatever else is making that happen. And that's the planet that is changing. The Aquarian age is meant to move the planet into that space. We're not in that space, but it is interesting. What is also interesting is that if you are trying to clear an entity from a person, the angels do it with absolute love and respect for the entity. There's never any malice involved, etc., etc. There's good reasons for that. But the fact that they do it with love, like they heal you, the strongest way an angel will heal you and clear anything from you, anything that's like infiltrating you is to just pump you with love, pump your heart full of love, because entities and other things can't be around in that space. And so when we create that space ourselves, we are very, very protected. Where you see it on a strong personal level is on your birthday. And I do remember, and I know I've said this before, I used to be surprised that there are lots of foods I can't have. But on my birthday, my guides would say, hey, you can have cake, you can have ice cream, you can have whatever. Foods that I wouldn't normally be able to touch because I'll have cancer dreams. And so I thought for many years, my guides were being nice to me on my birthday, which is kind of funny. And I wondered how they could be nice. Like, what are they doing that's allowing me to be that way? To be able to eat this food and not be negatively affected. And then eventually I figured it out. It's not that they're being nice to me. It's because of me feeling good and receiving so much love. It raises my energy. And in that raised energy state, I can drink Clorox. No, only kidding. I can eat foods that would normally really be bad for my body, and they're not bad. So what's interesting is the foods are only bad for me when I'm in a lower energy state. And I find interesting is Esther Hicks says that, if you know Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks and those. My wife Sandy's big into them. She says that all the time. And that's why I said the Clorox reference, because she said don't drink Clorox. But it's we ourselves give ourselves the allergies to foods and the inability to eat certain foods. And obviously on my birthday, I'm able to undo that because I feel so cool, so good, whatever it is. It's funny. Anyway, that was the point. So thanks for reminding me, Judee. It's cool to see that the love that everybody feels, like when giving gifts, not just the receiving gifts, but giving gifts, everybody feels good. That is such a barrier to anybody who tries to do anything negative or evil on the planet. That's a day they have to take off. And if they're not taking it off, they're not landing anything. It just doesn't work for them. Let's do some dreams. Here's a kind of a funny one. It's from Liz. She said, very simple dream. She had her hair done and it was in a bob. And she said it was really beautiful. She said it was beautiful so many times. It was kind of funny. So she had her hair cut short and it was in a bob, and she has long hair now. And she pulled back the curtain in her bathroom, and her boyfriend was sitting in the bathtub, and she asked him, what do you think of my hair? And he said, it looks really great. And it's her ex-boyfriend, but like she gets on really well with him. Very amicable. And she kind of had an idea of what the dream was going to be about, because he's in a bathroom, in a bathtub. Is it about letting him go? And really, the answer is it's more generic. It asks you to do things for yourself, and that includes changing how you present yourself and think. Don't adjust what you changed based on things like, I don't want to do something that my ex-boyfriend would be put off by. So it does include him, but it's not about him only. So the dream is saying, do the things you want to do, make the positive changes you want to make, positive being emphasized, and don't hold back because you think it might, say, upset your chances of getting back with an ex or whatever it happens to be. And it's kind of funny because once I channeled on that to get the answer, I realized, again, a lot of us do that. We hold ourselves back because of someone else's influence, even when that other person does not know they are influencing us, because they're completely unaware that we're holding ourselves back. How crazy is that? We shouldn't do that. And we know we shouldn't do that. Especially because a lot of the times it doesn't impact the other person at all. You were never going to get back with them or whatever it happens to be. You think something's going to upset them, but it's not, and it doesn't. But you don't know because you didn't do it, because you held back. Don't hold back. Very good dream though. So here's a dream from Maddy, and I might have a couple of her dreams. She says, I was wondering what New York City symbolizes in this dream. My boss sends me to New York. I had several messages from my boss and his secretary. He said I was going to New York City right away to do a presentation. I had no idea what I was going to present and thought that I might be able to work on it during the plane ride. So I gather there is something new coming very soon. So she's out of the dream now. She says that I don't feel prepared for, but what is New York? The Big Apple, the Statue of Liberty, mixing pots, City of Bright Lights, all come to mind, but not sure if any of those are it. Well, They're not. There's one part that's slightly it. Capital cities come from the Latin meaning head. Capita is head. So it's a head city. And so capital cities are about your head. And the dream says, you're in your head. You're in your head too much. It also says that you're flying by the seat of your pants. You're doing too much. Clearly in the dream, you're doing too much. There isn't even any time to prepare this presentation. You're going to have to prepare it while you're flying, which is why I say flying by the seat of your pants. And so here's the question. If this is true, are you really working crazy at work, putting in too much time, etc., etc.? And if you're putting this much energy into someone else's projects, wouldn't it make sense to put this much energy into something new of your own, which is what the New in New York is about? Do something new for you. And then the flying and the presentation both tell us that you have the ability to project your mind. You already know that. So you're able to visualize what you want in the future, like kind of like a vision board. Like that works for some people. It would definitely work for you. And so it's saying put that energy into what you want. Because this is your way out of doing all this crazy amount of work. And then conversely, thinking that something will never end, like if you're doing a crazy amount of work and thinking it's never going to end, that's going to happen for you because you have the ability to project your mind. Did you see what you're doing? You're going to make it happen by focusing on it with your mind. Now, a lot of us are here, and it doesn't matter what we think about things. We didn't bring that particular skill. But you've got it, and you've got it in spades. So you have to watch how you think and use it as a gift, as the gift that it is, to create the reality that you want. Very cool. So here's another one. What does Britney Spears mean in a dream? Well, you might already know the answer. This one comes from Cami. She says, my dream last night involved Britney Spears. And then she put hashtag Britney is free. The hashtag gives us more of a clue to what this dream is about than anything else. She says, I was part of her entourage while she was setting up to perform at a mall. Now, I fixed a lot of the words in this. It was obviously done with voice type and there was a lot of garbage in it. So if you're listening to this, Cami, and there's pieces wrong, you can only blame yourself. Anyway, even Justin Timberlake was there, you say. I also saw gathering in the crowd some old co-workers from Samoa. Before Britney started her performance, she greeted and sat by all of them. They then introduced her to a Samoan dance or ritual where they all laid on their backs, and I think, can't fully remember, that they were in those kiddie pools just floating. What kiddie pools? You don't describe them. I decided to take pictures with my camera and left my purse where I was sitting. As I walked to the performers area, I realized I needed something from my purse, so I went back to my seat. But by the time I got back to that area, the entourage had completely packed everything up and left. I also need to add, I did a clearing for myself in the shower about 2 hours before I went to bed. Okay, so what is it about? Can you make sense of this, Michael? Well, of course. So Cami was asked, what do you think about Britney Spears? And of course, it's the Britney is free. So we know that Britney and Justin Timberlake, apart from being interested in each other, are both singers and actors. And I think she's an actress anyway. He certainly is both. So they represent channeling. Cami has the ability to channel. And that's what she's meant to do. And what's happening in the dream is the stage is all being set up for the performance. So it's like it's coming to the point now where you're meant to do this. And maybe you're already doing it. But so if you're already doing it, you're going to be doing it more. And anyway, what's going wrong for you is, the other thing about Britney Spears, nearly glossed over it, and I'm guilty of doing that in lots of shows. Britney is free is because she can finally live the life that she wants to live, and her dad is not able to control her or keep her under his thumb or spend all her money, all the horrible things that he was doing. And so this is going to be about you getting free from your dad. That's what the connection is going to be. So how does it show up in the dream? Well, it shows up because you want to go over and take the picture. So you're all happy and you're getting closer to the stage. But then what do? You go back to get something from your purse that you forgot. Now, in America, a purse is a handbag. So this is one of the divisions between America and England and European English, Irish and so on, Ireland and so on. It's these mean different things in both countries. So if you take it as a handbag, rather than your wallet. It's or where you keep your money. It's about responsibilities, and it's saying that you have perceived responsibilities that are allowing to hold you back from being free to do what you want to do. So that might sound like a slap in the face, because you're going to look at those and go, well, of course I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do the other. Well, I'm going to say that you think that because of Dad's influence. And I'm only picking on Dad because Dad was the one that was crushing Britney Spears' life. And that's something you're very aware of. So that's what you need to do. Realize that your perceived responsibilities, because you go back for the handbag to get something out of the handbag, and then you miss everything because they all pack up and go while you're doing that, right? So very simple dream, very simple meaning, but it's cool. But I have another dream from Cami, and it was the night before. She says, I was with co-workers and I heard my cell phone notification for a text message go off. I heard it say, hello. I thought it was my cell phone in waking life, so I woke up, but it wasn't. So again, another dream, same thing. It's about communication with spirit. The first dream doesn't say how it works for you, but the second one kind of does. Phones are about thoughts being impressed on your mind. Because of telephone, it's about being telepathic. And that's about thoughts being impressed on your mind. And so if you're learning to channel or whatever, it has to be a method that includes telepathy and how telepathy works and helps you to develop it. And you have to learn to discern your guide's thoughts from your thoughts and so on and so on and so on. But that's how it works. So two dreams saying the same thing, but one telling you that you're holding yourself back and why. Love it. So I have 3 dreams from Debbie. I changed the order of them. So they're in reverse order because it's kind of funny. She had her first dream that told her something. And then the next dream that just slapped her with it, just said very clearly, here's what it is. And then a third dream, which also included another piece from the first dream. So I'm going to do them backwards. And then it'll make more sense when we do the first dream. And they're like a number of days apart each. But here it is from Debbie. She says, last night's dream/vision or meditation, as I was lying in my bed meditating and drifting off to sleep. So it's a meditation. Don't be trying to say it's a dream, but that's okay, because if you're clairvoyant, the messages you get in meditation are the same as the interpretation of the images is the same as it is for dreams. So you say, I'm lying, meditating on my bed, and I look up at the ceiling and it has now changed to moving swirls of different colors. Green, purple, blue. I feel I'm being pulled through the ceiling and I am swirling upward through a green tunnel. I reach the top and there are stars, millions of them all around me, and I quickly realize, like Dorothy, this is not my bedroom in Lanalay anymore. Well, here's a point of correction. Dorothy realized it wasn't Kansas anymore. So, it wasn't quite like Dorothy. And then you say, I begin to float through the stars and I wake up soon after. Well, here's what I'm going to say. No, you didn't. You had a journey on the astral plane that you promptly forgot about, and then you woke up. So most times during sleep, we leave our bodies telepathically. And that is why beds and dreams can also represent the spirit world, because we go to sleep, we leave the physical world behind, and we become aware of who we are, and what our issues are, etc., etc. So they can represent spiritual activity. So you are being, it's not a dream, but you're being shown that this is something you can do. You can consciously lie down to meditate. Do you actually say you were lying on your bed? I hope you do, because that's what I got. Yeah, lying on my bed meditating. That's the way you're meant to do it. You're meant to lie down. And we'll see that later. So here you have doing something. I wouldn't have included this except for the dream that we're going to have, the one after next. But this is your way of connecting, raising your vibration, and keeping your consciousness. That's the skill. We know, for instance, Cami earlier, she could do this too, because she has the ability to project her mind. So people who can do that, like you, Debbie, can go to the astral plane and keep your consciousness of that journey and bring it back with you and learn things on that plane. And then, I don't know, maybe write them in a book. Let's see. So a few days before, Debbie says, all she can remember is, I was sitting with my accountant and he was commenting on a letter I had written, saying how profound it was and so well written. He was encouraging me to write more. And then she asks, would the accountant be a guide, an accountability guide, maybe? Well, I like that. He's trying to hold you to account, that's for sure. But what's he telling you to do? He's telling you to write. That's clearly it. He's telling you to write, and you can write well. So there's no other interpretation you need for this dream other than you're being told to write. And then when we see your dream from about a week before, it'll make a lot of sense. The two we just had will make a lot of sense. But maybe you do need an accountability buddy. I remember when I wrote my second book, I had an accountability buddy. And that's where two writers will just agree to meet once a week and talk about how they've gotten on with the last chapter of their book. And it's not so much that you're going to bounce ideas off each other. You don't even need to be on the same page, pun intended, writing about the same topic. But somebody, if you know you're going to meet them and you see they're progressing at something you want to progress at, you will eventually start saying, I got to make time to write, because I hate meeting on these Friday meetings and keep saying I didn't get that and done this week. It's a good idea to do, regardless of who you do it with. So here's her last dream. She says, I'm walking up a very large staircase. At the top are two people lying on the floor. I ask them, can they move, please? And they get up, and they are two members of parliament. Debbie's in England. Politicians, she says in brackets. They say they're doing something or practicing something I can't remember. Now the dream continues, but I'm going to stop for a second. So walking up a large staircase, I love that it's large, it's wide, right? Beautiful symbol. This is about you activating your spiritual side. And at the top are these politicians. So they're guides in your dreams, and they're spiritual leaders. So because they're leaders in the country. So you have a spiritual leadership skill that you've been asked to activate or use. There's two of them. So we also know you're a channel. So you're to access this through channeling, use the two together. And they're lying on the floor. Like your meditation when you had this strange experience. So that's what you're meant to do. They're showing you that's what you're meant to do. That's what guides do. They're often very aloof in a dream and just show you. Anyway, they say they're doing something or practicing something I can't remember. So you're meant to practice. And it's a pity. You have lots of these I can't remember moments in your dreams that are really the key pieces. It must be so frustrating. Anyway, you turn around and there are lots of people behind me. That's good. People encouraging you, or people going to follow you, you're going to help them. The staircase continues to go around, and I get to the top, and there are 3 wooden boxes. I put them in alignment as they look out of place. I have to lie down to do this, and then I hear a voice. It is of the 2 people who were originally asked to move, and they're now asking me to move. So see what you have to do? You have to lie down to put something into alignment. So it's definitely what you have to do. This is how it's going to work. The 3 wooden boxes are about your birth. And I was channeling on this, and it's kind of funny because I had read the dream sometime before. So it's about aligning birth, because the boxes are about birth. Also watch what you eat, but that's okay. I think you're aware of that. But the main thing was, they said the reason it's 3 boxes is because it's about triangulating things around a person's birth. So I don't know what that means, because I'm not into astrology, but then I discovered from reading the rest of your dream, you are. So that's cool. Then you say, they ask you to move. So that's cool. I laugh and get up and walk into a large bookstore. Sitting behind a desk is a woman called Michelle. Ooh, female version of my name. She's a book editor. So this is another guide. I walk nervously over to her and ask her, would she be willing to listen to a proposal idea for a book? So do you have a book idea in your head right now? What is it? What's it about? Because you don't tell us here. I sit down and she asks me what I have done in the last 2 months. I tell her I am an astrologer and have recently created 2 oracle decks. And you say in brackets, this is true, 2nd deck coming out shortly. I tell her my pitch, and all I can recall is the word clock. And there are other things, but I can't remember them. Oh no, I wish you could. She starts to get emotional and says, yes, you have a book deal. This is going to change lives. She then goes to tell her business partner, and they mention Europe, but say, don't worry, they know someone who can help. I'm then taken in the dream to TV studios and podcasts and online interviews. I wake up. Excellent. So the Europe thing is, of course, because of Brexit, it's difficult to break out of England now, because a lot of things have become insular. So that's probably on your mind. But the dream is saying, don't worry about it. Your guides are going to help you. But yeah, you're meant to write a book. And when I channeled on it, I was told it's going to be a mix of astrology and tarot, but it's going to be about, it's going to have this triangulation on a person's birth. Means nothing to me. So I'll be curious to see what it is you had been thinking about. And you asked, in your comments at the end, you said, I've been wanting to write a book for a long time, but didn't really feel or know what to write. I left it up to show my dreams. Does this symbolize a book or something else? Well, it definitely symbolizes a book, because you go into a bookstore and you're aware you're in a dream. You're astral traveling at this point in your dream. You may not be aware you're in the dream, but because of the dialogue, this is what I should say, the dialogue tells us that it's a memory from the astral plane. So this is a conversation you did have with your guides, and you're told, yes, you have a book deal, and they're very excited. So they're telling you to be excited about it, to be emotional about it, and not to worry about the things that you are worrying about that could or would possibly get in your way. So it's really cool. So not symbolic when it's part of a conversation. To just dream about a book, on the other hand, is a little bit different. So let's see if we can squeeze another one in quickly. This one is from Sherry. It's called Rescue the Baby Birds. We were given instructions to pick the baby birds off the lawn and relocate them to a nearby piece of lawn, literally just a few steps away. I scooped up a baby bird and a full-size bird and questioned for a moment if I should leave the full-size bird, since we are just relocating the babies, but I didn't see the harm in taking it too. I was also a little surprised the birds were easy to catch. I set them down safely and the whole community was participating. The end. She then asks, I get that the birds are about goals, even if they're on the ground and so on. What is it about? And I did ask her, were they crows or carrion birds and all that, and they're not. So here's what you're meant to do, is take a few steps with your new goals. That's what a baby bird is. It is a goal and it's new. So you're to take a few steps with your new goals, and it doesn't have to be anything big. You're allowed a change of heart on your goals. That's what the lawn is about, to make adjustments. And you don't need to do anything with the goals that have already matured. That's what the adult birds are about. And a better way probably to put that is, don't be distracted by reworking goals that have already matured. That's it. I have more of your dreams to do. Sherry, I will do them next week. Thanks everybody for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.